I just recently watched, it was like a little excerpt, a news excerpt or expose. It was about, or it was called The Man in the Iron Lung. And he lived in an iron lung for most of his life. He just recently passed away at the age of 78, but he was the last known person to have been in an iron lung. Now, I almost didn't watch it because I didn't want to get emotional, but it was actually really good. It was really quick. It was about 10 minutes, and it basically talked about his life. Peter Alexander, so he was born in the 1950s, and he contracted polio when he was 6, which basically paralyzed him from the neck down, so he couldn't breathe on his own. So he was basically confined to an iron lung. And for those who are not familiar, an iron lung is basically, it's like a big metal pod, a chamber that one would lay in. So it encases your body from the neck down, leaving your head exposed. It forces air into your lungs as well as out of your lungs. And it does the breathing for you. And so he was confined to this machine for the better part of his life. But even though he was constrained in many ways, physically, he wasn't able to really get around for too long on his own, that didn't stop him. Not only did this man go to college and get 2 degrees, one in economics and another one in law, he also practiced law. He was an attorney, as well as he painted, and he also wrote a book. All this while dealing with this illness, or the remnants of this illness of being paralyzed. Earlier on, he was able to leave his lung for a while and go to court in the capacity of an attorney and, do certain things, maybe for a couple of hours at a time. But for the most part, he was confined to this machine. And when I tell you that looking at this man who has been in this contraption for 70 plus years, the fact that he was still able to have a positive attitude, it's really a testament to not only the human spirit, but also to his faith, because he was a strong believer in God. Even in his circumstance, he was able to find joy and thankfulness and gratefulness. And I believe he was on social media all the way up until he passed away. So a lot of people got to know him through that medium. Being in such an antiquated contraption, antiquated and obsolete, because they don't make those machines anymore. Polio has since been eradicated. So for the most part, those machines went away along with the spread of the disease. That being said, along with just having to be in the machine, that also brought along certain challenges. When something would go awry with the machine, like if it were to break down or something like that, they couldn't just order parts. And in fact, it did break down a couple of times. And one time his friend, they had to outsource and get a machine from another state, I believe, and refurbish it and make it workable so that he could continue to be assisted. So he went through a lot of things, but none of that stopped him. He was determined that no matter what, he was going to live a full life. And that's exactly what he did. And like I said, me watching this, it was a great example of the indomitable spirit that a lot of us have but don't tap into. It was very inspirational. He himself was a very inspirational person. He didn't let his disability be a hindrance to what he wanted to do in life. He wanted to write a book. It took him 5 years. With a pencil in his mouth and him tapping on a keyboard, he wrote a book and had it published. And I'm sure he had low moments, we all do. Moments where he felt beside himself or not exactly the best emotionally. But he persevered. He chose to move forward every day and learn something, do something, be an inspiration to somebody. He kept moving forward in spite of his circumstance, So this is yet another reminder for having gratitude for what we do have in life and not focusing in on what we don't have in life, what we're not able to do. It's about changing your perspective. We've talked about that many times, and I always love to come back to it. And even now that we've just gotten through another holiday, meaning Thanksgiving, most of us here in the States have celebrated and with our family and friends or even by ourselves, But just like its name, it is a day of being thankful. It's a day of thankfulness. No matter what, there's always something to be thankful for. There's always something to look forward to. There's always something to be grateful for. Here's this man who was stuck in an outdated iron machine, a machine that did his breathing for him, a machine that would break down from time to time and put his life in jeopardy. Even with all this, still he could muster thankfulness, and still he displayed gratefulness. While some of us are focused in on what we don't have and what we're not able to do, he was able to take time to thank God for what he did have and what he was able to do. It's all about perspective. It's all about choosing joy. It's all about thankfulness and gratefulness and choosing that path for your life. So anyway, I just wanted to come in here because, again, I found this story inspirational, and it was touching that he just recently passed in March. But even in that, he passed away at the age of 78, and he's even in the Guinness Book of World Records for the person who has lived the longest in an iron lung. So he also has that to his credit. But I did find his story inspirational, and it just put a perspective on a lot of things for me. And it was just a wonderful reminder of how thankful we all should be. And a lot of us coming off of this Thanksgiving holiday, and we're feeling all the feels, we're about to go back into this work week. I want you guys to carry that spirit of thankfulness for all that God has done for you and brought into your life. I want you to maintain that thankfulness. I want you to keep that same energy. Carry it with you through this week, through this month, and into the next year, because y'all know that 2025 is right around the corner. I don't need to tell you that, but it is. So I want you guys to carry that over into the next year, as well as there's no excuses. There's no excuses for you not doing what you need to be doing. There's no excuses as far as, oh, I can't do this, I can't be that, I can't. This man lived in an iron lung for 70 plus years, and he was a painter, a writer, an attorney. He went to school, he did all these things. There are no excuses for what you should be doing. You need to be preparing and doing what you have been called to do. Excuse time is over. Those who are stuck in sadness, who are complaining about the wrong thing, you're always angry, you're never satisfied, you're never grateful, you're never thankful. Well, I don't have this, I don't have that, and this and that. You need to change your perspective. You need to change your perspective. There's no more excuses. Time for us to be thankful and really live up or live beyond the expectations that we have for our lives. If not now, then when? If not you, then who? So I want you guys to be thankful. You may not like what you're doing right now, but you got a job. And for those who don't have a job, I want you to be thankful that God has kept you this far and claim that one is coming. Be thankful for your health and well-being. And for those who are dealing with any type of illnesses or ailments going on right now, I pray healing over you, and be thankful that you're still here. Be thankful for the love in your life, whether it be family, a husband, wife, kids. Be thankful for who you have. For those who don't have any family or anyone with you, be thankful for the love of Jesus Christ in your life, for it never falters and it never fails. You are not alone. So I just wanted to come in here really quickly with that little story, with that little tidbit. Again, I'm hoping that you can grab inspiration from it like I did. And I want you guys to finish out the week with great expectations for your life. We've said it before. I'm going to say it again because it doesn't change. I want you guys to have great expectations and know that there are no more excuses. Whatever you want to do in life, now is the time to do it. There's no excuses. Take this momentum and use it as fuel to move forward and not stand still. Never too late. You're not alone, and you can have what God said you can have. But there's no more excuses. The time is now. You got people with a whole lot less doing a whole lot more, okay, with their lives. So there's no excuses. Here's this man who can't even use his hands to write, and he wrote a whole book. And you can't even write a to-do list for this week? Here's this man stuck in a contraption for 70 plus years of his life. And meanwhile, here you are free to go and come as you please. You get to drive in a car. You get to travel on your own and walk the mall and go shopping and all these things. And you're complaining about what? I know you better stop. And it's not about being better or looking at someone else and thinking that your life is so much better. It's about maintaining and keeping a healthy perspective regarding your life. Yeah, there are people better off than you and there are people worse off than you. But all of us should choose thankfulness, because no matter what or what station you're in or what predicament or circumstance or whatever is going on in your life, it can always be worse. And guess what? You are still here. And none of this should be an excuse as far as not moving forward, not achieving your goals. Praise God through your circumstance and He will see you through. Because the time for excuses is over. There are no excuses for what you should be doing. No, ma'am. No, sir. That's it. Okay. And with that, we are going to put a button on it.